Welcome everyone to the latest session in the Digital Gaming Conference MEA 2021. Today we're going to be talking about Saudi Arabia and its ambitions in the realms of e-sport. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Omar Bataji, who is Head of Communications, Marketing and Partnerships at the Saudi Esports Federation. Thank you very much indeed for joining me today, Omar.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So give us a bit of an overview, just to start things off. Give us an overview of the Saudi Esports Federation, what it is and what you're mandated to do.
So the Saudi Esports Federation is a bit of a special federation, and in its essential role, it is a sports federation. So we basically take care of elite competition, just like any other federation, and also look to grow, the grassroots level of a technical sport. But however, we do have a bit of a larger mandate, considering that gaming and esports is such a new industry globally, not just in Saudi and maybe especially in the Middle East. We move also to catalyze movement within the industry, sort of drawing investors, sort of showcase the potential and the opportunities within the industry. So again, one part really focusing on just the federation type of activity, competitions, and the other part really working to grow the industry.
So what does the esports landscape look like in Saudi Arabia now? How would you kind of describe its evolution and its current state?
I would say in two words, rapidly developing, and it's in its early stages. It started a few years back, sort of online competitive gaming basically changed the gaming landscape globally, and more we've begun to see talent that were competing on a global stage, but were from Saudi. Sort of as a result, the direction of the Saudi Vision 2030, the Esports Federation was established under the Olympic Committee to treat it just like the works as an official sport. So looking at that, traction was a bit low at the beginning, but now we're beginning to see positive strides actually across multiple streams of work.
I mean, obviously esports covers an awful lot of different games and different types of games. What are the games that you would say that Saudis are competing on an international stage at? What are the kind of what are the games that you're finding that Saudis are competing well on an international level?
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting. You're one of the first few people I speak to that understand that esports is an umbrella term for all of these sort of titles that go in. But basically, Saudi focuses on developing athletes for games that have a massive global viewership and following. So we already, for instance, have multiple world champions in FIFA, for instance. Saudis are among the best in FIFA. However, when we look at the viewership compared to things like Dota, CSGO, compared to League of Legends, we find that FIFA is just a bit down in the charts. So what we're doing now is focusing our strategy in developing leagues that sort of develop the talent in those specific titles. But we don't just focus on them. They have a huge portion of our investment. However, we do diversify across different titles.
And this is also not just about individuals, though. This is also about teams competing on a global level as well. Are you finding that kind of infrastructure there that Saudis are banding together and forming professional teams or semi-professional teams to compete in these big international tournaments?
Absolutely. It's not, as you said, it's not about the individual, because we do have some excellent individuals, but right now a lot of our efforts go into getting these esports clubs to start working as an organization. They need to move from being a group of people that excel at a certain game to actually treating themselves as an organization with different functions and work, from marketing to finance to, just organizational structure, and supporting them with this. And the Saudi e-leagues, which we can dive into, is exactly the product that focuses on that area of developing team-based organizations.
I mean, looking at an individual level, you've obviously got Moussad Al Dosri is probably one of the most famous exports, if you like, in terms of his success at winning that global FIFA tournament. And he's actually now represented by Rock Nation, which is one of the biggest artist representatives in the world right now. That surely should give an indication of the prizes and the rewards that are at stake, if not only an individual or a team gets it right, but if Saudi as a whole gets it right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Saad al-Dosari, or MS Dosari, as he likes to be called, is actually an amazing player. On a global stage, everyone speaks about him, but what people don't see is everything that happens behind the scenes. It's the likes of tech companies coming, asking to partner with him to provide tech solutions to develop and analyze his game. It's all the sponsorship opportunities that happen, and it's how he has established himself more as a brand with agents. So it's that sort of structural approach to the business side of it all that we're really hoping to develop in Saudi.
What, from an institutional level, do you think is required now for Saudi Arabia to kind of accelerate its esports landscape? You know, what are the elements that you need to put in place to kind of elevate the whole space?
So a lot of the elements that you would speak of are actually being put into place, are actually being studied, but we see a lot of progress in Saudi overall when it comes to just the way the country has evolved in terms of making it easier for investors to come in, developing its infrastructure. One thing that really is not appreciated are the few different elements that help catalyze gaming and esports in Saudi. When you catalyze gaming, as a result, esports sort of grows with it. But if you look at, first of all, a very tech-savvy youth with a high internet penetration, a great telecom infrastructure, connectivity infrastructure, but then you look at that with a high purchasing power market, I think right there you have a nice trifecta that really sort of brought it all together to put Saudi on the top. So what's important is to really make sure that we buffer all of those different elements with the processes on a governmental level and an institutional level that help support them. And that's what is currently happening.
So what are the accelerators that you think are required now to really push the gaming landscape to the next level? And what do you think is the Esports Federation role in propelling that?
So there are different levels to these accelerators, and the Saudi Esports Federation works sort of at each one at a different stage. But we look at the likes of STC, now launching STC Play in partnership with the Saudi Esports Federation. That is a major element of bringing a large corporation into the gaming world and really investing there. Another element is just similar to how we have meetings with these clubs